Docile on the streets and a demon in the sheets, the topless, two-wheel drive Huracán is a supercar I can't get enough of. Los Angeles, California. As far as I'm concerned, the rear-wheel drive, 571 horsepower LP 580-2 is the best version of the Lamborghini Huracán. Its naturally aspirated 5.2-liter V10 may be down 31 HP compared to the all-wheel drive 610-4, but the rear drive car is lighter, with better balance, and it's about $40,000 cheaper. The LP 580-2 Spyder you see here is essentially the same formula sans roof, and letting in the sunshine enhances the totally visceral Huracán driving experience. So after several days of living with a holy SH*T, that's yellow LP 580-2 Spyder in Los Angeles, I'm convinced that this is the version to get. On a Great Canyon road, it's absolutely brilliant, no surprise there. But almost equally impressive are the Huracán's around town manners. For as capable as this thing is during a spirited run, it's a perfect gentleman when I'm just going up to CVS to get some sundries. Pros. Drives like a car. I know, this seems a little, obvious. But listen, if you've ever tried to drive a Nissan GT-R in stop-and-go traffic, constantly fighting the immediacy of the turbocharged power delivery, you'll understand what I'm talking about. The Huracán handles city commuting with aplomb. It's not an always-on beast that you have to tame between stoplights. In the default Strata drive mode, it's comfortable and compliant over bumps. Forward visibility is great. The throttle has progressive response, and the engine doesn't assault you with power right off the line. Even the steering is relatively light, though still direct, and a joy to use around town. Oh, and the front-end hydraulic lift is super helpful for steep driveways and speed bumps. I won't dare put this into daily driver territory, but just running errands around Los Angeles, it's easy to drive as a Camry. Just cooler. Way cooler. One of the best driver's cars on the road today. Get out of the city and onto a winding road, and man oh man, this thing comes to life. I can't remember the last time I drove a car this willing, this capable, and this communicative. Switch the drive mode to sport, and everything gets sharper. The steering is a textbook example of great weight and greater feedback. The chassis is superb and lets the Huracán cut through corners like an X-Acto knife. Standard steel brakes remain confident even after hours of use, though I'd still probably opt for the ceramic units for more initial bite in the brake pedal. And that sound. Oh god, that sound. When electric motors and turbos finally take over the world, I am really going to miss the sweet wail of a naturally aspirated V10 that wins out to a 8,500 RPM climax. And it's fast. So fast. Driving this car on a beautiful day along a ribbon of pavement is the absolute definition of bliss. Looks like a goddamn supercar. Every one of the competitors I list below are gorgeous cars, but I'll argue the Huracán is the coolest of the lot, a truly superlative supercar. No kid is putting a poster of a 911 turbo on their bedroom wall, it's this angular, aggressive, sex-on-wheels Huracán, especially in this shut up and pay attention to me shade of Jalo Tenerife, which costs $11,900, by the way. Coolness carries over to the interior. I never get tired of having to lift the red cover over the engine start button, all the toggles feel like they're straight out of a fighter jet. The fonts and colors and display in the fully digital instrument cluster are as angular as the Lambo's exterior design. Hell, even those $5,600 carbon composite housings for the air vents and door handles look totally rad. The Huracán brings all the emotion of the exterior design into the cabin, and doesn't come at the expense of luxury and livability. Quite the opposite, actually, this is a wonderfully appointed interior, with comfortable, supportive seats, and great materials everywhere you might put your hands. Well, except for the slide-out cup holder in the dash, that thing's just stupid. Trust me, you want the Spyder. This RWD Huracán Spyder is 265 pounds heavier than its hardtop sibling, but driving this car with the roof down takes the experience to new levels. Plus, it doesn't hurt the Huracan's design, all of the bold character lines remain intact. Honestly, to my eyes, this thing looks better as a roadster. I look forward to arguing with all of you about this in the comments. Cons. Needs a tech update. The 12.3-inch Lamborghini Infotainment System display was next-level technology at one time. But then sister company Audi got a hold of it, gave it better graphics with more vibrant colors, renamed it Virtual Cockpit, and started integrating it into every single one of the brand's cars. It's kind of silly that a $40,000 subcompact A3 has a better version of the same system you get in a $220,000 Lambo, or, in the case of this crazily optioned test car, $280,000. On top of that, the Huracan uses the old Audi Mmi Interface, with last-gen graphics, last-gen fonts, and last-gen buttons on the center stack. Guys. What's behind me? Again. As I mentioned earlier, forward visibility from inside the Huracan is excellent. But every other side blind spot, or rear, is total crap. Even with the mirrors adjusted properly, it's hard to tell exactly where neighboring cars are located, or exactly how close you are to an object behind you. Never in my life have I relied on a rear view camera so much. Competitors. Audi R8 V10 Spyder, Ferrari 488 Spyder, McLaren 570 Spyder, Mercedes-AMG GTC Roadster, Porsche 911 Turbo Cabriolet. Hybrid supercar that can be as docile as a Civic or as ferocious as a Ferrari. Los Angeles, California. The everyday supercar. The original Acura NSX is arguably the progenitor of this phrase, the first of its kind to combine balls-out performance with amenities and drivability that wouldn't kill you in the city. But these days, most supercars are at least a little bit amicable in everyday use. The Audi R8 feels like an A4 when you're running errands. A McLaren 570s has one of the most compliant fast car suspensions around. A Lamborghini Huracan doesn't make a ton of noise below 3,000 RPM. So with the rebirth of NSX, resting on its laurels of offering everyday drivability simply won't cut it. Don't get me wrong, it's very good at the day-to-day stuff. But there's a whole lot more to love, as well. Pros. Doesn't suck in traffic. An hour behind the wheel of the NSX and I've traveled less than 6 miles. Welcome to Los Angeles. But it's cool, I've got comfortable chairs, a lovely sound system, quiet confines, and great visibility of the world around me, for a low-slung supercar, anyway. Plus, with the car working in its standard hybrid mode, it's quiet and civilized when I'm slowly moving from traffic light to traffic light. The steering is relatively light and direct in action when I'm just putzing alongside streets. Honestly, at speeds below 40 miles per hour, this imposing NSX is as friendly to drive as an Accord. But then you open it up, and holy shit. Turn the drive mode dial over to Sport and the NSX wakes up, the brute force of its turbo 3.5-liter V6 and 3 electric motors delivering all 573 horsepower with immediacy. Acceleration down a highway on-ramp is violent in its delivery, and thrilling in its execution. Docile and civilized around town it may be, but it's reassuring to know the NSX is ready to release the hounds at the drop of a hat. Go find the good roads. The harder you drive this car, the more it rewards you. Dial up Sport and Mode, enjoy the razor-sharp steering response and knife-like turn-in. Feel the massive grip from the staggered Pirelli tires, 245/35 ZR19 up front, 305/30 ZR20 at the rear, and enjoy the stability of through-the-road all-wheel drive. 2 electric motors power the front wheels, the hybrid V6 drives the rear. Honestly, I disagree with my colleagues who've said the NSX feels a little too meh at the limit. Yes, there's a lot of technology at work here, but it still drives like a champ. Looks like sex. Humble brag, I've driven a lot of supercars lately. But nothing grabs the attention of onlookers quite like the NSX, even here in glitzy SoCal. Driving past a guy taking a picture of his girlfriend against the backdrop of the Hollywood sign, he moved his iPhone at the last minute to instead snap a photo of the Acura, much to his gal's anger. Hey, I can't blame the guy. The Hollywood sign will always be there. Seeing an NSX, even out here, is a rare and excellent occurrence. Cons. Too much civic in my supercar. I'm basically a pro at using the infotainment, climate system, and other controls found inside the NSX. That's not me bragging about how I'm super smart, it's because pretty much all of these functions are carryover from the Honda/Acura parts bin. The NSX has the same infotainment system as a $18,000 Fit hatchback. Except the Fit has a volume knob. Needs a lift. The first thing I do whenever I get a loan of a supercar? Figure out how to raise the front end. Most of the high-dollar competitors listed below offer this kind of technology, which is a godsend for driveways, speed bumps, and other times when you might find less than great pavement. Unfortunately, the NSX rides very low to the ground and doesn't offer a lift for its front end. Be careful. Competitors: Audi R8, Chevy Corvette Z06, Ferrari 488 GTB, Lamborghini Huracán, McLaren 570s, Mercedes AMG GT, Nissan GT-R, Porsche 911 Turbo S.